All right, we're looking at this oak. I think it's a red oak. It might be a scarlet oak, but I'm pretty sure it's a red. Fairly sizable tree. And we're looking at the structure of this tree because I'm guessing 10 years ago, but probably close to 10 years, there was a huge codominant stem. Half the tree growing right there, split out in a storm and laid right across the street here. Right across the street into the neighbor's driveway, took that mailbox out. And I just want to talk about the response to the wound there that the tree has done naturally. After the codominant was cut out, there's been no maintenance at all on the tree. And what we're seeing is some pretty large shoots now that are developing into nice branching structures here. And they're not too crowded. They're fairly busy up there. I mean, you could get up there and thin it out maybe to 2 or 3 of the big leads there that are filling in the hole here. What I want to talk to you about is the tree's intelligence, how the tree responds to wounds, and what we can learn about trees and how that can inform our pruning practices. So what's going on here? When that big codominant split out, now this whole right side of the tree, you only have this one limb here, and I guess there might have been a branch up there. Is that a branch that broke off up there? That might have gone over in the storm too. But then it looks like there's not another branch up until you get into that codominant stem up there. So that's like 30 feet of open sky next to the trunk of this tree, which is not a natural situation. And if we just want to look, I'm stepping behind the tree here, but there's the sun, and then there's all this open sky. As that sun is moving east to west across the sky here in the middle of summer, it's going to burn that tree up. It's going to overheat the trunk of that tree. The tree, number one, put those sprouts, and you see the way they're growing straight up. They're going up to block that bit of open sky there. Number one, the tree is sucking up some of the light to photosynthesize, but it's also putting some shade on on its trunk, which would overheat that on a hot day and really stress the tree out. So that's number one. Number two, it could have put the sprouts on anywhere, right? It could have put them on higher up the trunk. It could have put them on lower up the trunk. Why did the tree put the sprouts on right there, right around the base of that tear out? Think about what happens when that new wood is developing on those multiple stems there. It's getting wider at each of the base of these limbs, at the attachment point. It's getting wider there. All those wide portions are joining together. So it's creating basically a ring of wood that's growing faster than it would as just a normal growth ring, much faster. And it's going to try to build as much new wood around the base of that wound as possible in order to strengthen the tube, which is going to eventually hollow out. So the tree now knows it's in a race. It's trying to put on and strengthen that area around the wound before that decay moves through slowly year after year through all of that wood that was present at the time that the codominant ripped out. This center lead up there's a lot of deadwood up in there. I don't know if that's from the overheating, if that's because, a lot of the fluid that was feeding that center trunk, with the twist of the grain, could have been coming down from this side. It could have been blocked off, or if that's simply it could be from bacterial leaf scorch. It could be from a number of things. We're seeing, some new sprouts along here. They cut that one before, and that one. So all these new sprouts that are lower down the trunk are probably here just because with that open sky, now there's enough sun making its way down here that the tree says, I can get a little cheap fix here, and for not too much energy, I can put a branch like this branch right here that's going to get a lot more sun since there's not as much shade over top of it. So that's the way I look at these trees. It's the way I think about them, and I think twice before I just go cut every sprout off a tree like this. I try to talk to the customers out of removing the sprouts. I would say, look, if you really need to remove the sprout, if it's so ugly that you can't handle it, then I'll cut it for you, or maybe we could just trim them up and try to prune them and make them eventually turn into nice little new branches. Like that thing could be pruned right there. It's got 3 or 4 sprouts out. We could pick one and then cut the rest of them off and let it develop into a new branch. In another 20 years, it'll look good. This one here, too. This could look good in another 20 years. I'm going to tell the customer, look, let's not just cut every sprout off of this tree. They may not look good to you, but there's a trade-off here. They're good for the tree. If you can handle looking at them, then I would recommend leaving them or thinning them, not removing them altogether, creating more wounds on the tree, taking leafy material away from the tree so they can't photosynthesize and keep itself strong and healthy. That's the way I explain it to the customers. In all the years I've been doing that, which is over 20, I've only had one for sure, and I think maybe 2 or 3 along the way have said, hey, you know what, I don't care, I want to get this sprouts cut anyhow. So I like to leave them. What do you guys do with them? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And again, thanks for watching. Of course, subscribe and like. It always helps the YouTube algorithm. So that's what the tree looks like from the wide perspective. You can see how full that left side is right there. That right side's mighty thin. That first lower limb put on some sprouts. They got big and tall pretty quickly to fill some space over there. That's trying to catch some of the sunlight there. And then the rest of those sprouts come off the trunk to fill that hole right there. And then look at those tips on that center lead. Those tips are all pretty much stone dead. They're stone dead over here. They're dying back over here. Could be related to the wound. Could be related to the sun scald before the tree was able to cover those wounds. And it could be related to bacterial leaf scorch. We just don't know. But anyhow, I'm pretty impressed with the way this tree's recovered. When you saw how bad that thing looked with the whole half of that tree ripped out, it just looked terrible. And I thought the customer was going to have the tree removed, and he didn't. I think he made the right decision. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and I appreciate